On this channel, as you know, I've been talking a lot about execution, routines, and setting up the systems in your life to get things done. And if you've been watching what I've been sharing recently in my videos, you will hear me often say something like, it just doesn't resonate with me, these systematic ideas to follow like step 1, step 2, step 3 in such a linear process, because I've always been an individual who resonated on like a more artistic level, a more spontaneous level, someone who's just rolling with the punches of every single day. And that is true, but I am still sticking to systemized schedule in order to focus on my work, in order to focus on my health, in order to focus on my channel, in order to focus on my personal stuff. Well, I want to talk about what I ground myself to every single day. I've made videos about this in the past. It's a phenomenon that I believe I coined, I don't know. It's called, I like to call it, checking my mortality. You will notice in recent videos that I have actually gotten a tattoo, my first tattoo. And this tattoo, it says, "Die wise." Die Wise is the title of a book written by Stephen Jenkinson. Die Wise, a manifesto for sanity and soul. And for me, this book, this manifesto, touches upon anything and everything I ever felt I needed to hear. But of course, my experience is my experience, and other people might not find the topic of like death and dying and mortality so grounding and so inspiring and something to live by. And that's okay. Maybe you should stop watching this video, because I'm going to talk all about the practice that I involve myself in every single day. So on the topic of schedule, scheduling and schedules, I do a lot. I train 3 days a week, my body. I do strength training 3 days a week. I work every day, different hours every single day, mostly my weekdays. I journal 3 days a week. I work on my brand 3 days a week. I have personal time. I have a sleep schedule. I have a feeding schedule. I pretty much just stick to this fucking schedule. And something that I do at least 2 times a week is I come here. And as you will notice a few minutes ago, where I am is on a train bridge overpass. And below me are train tracks. And this is just a little walk away from my apartment. About a 30-minute walk out, and then a 30-minute walk back in. And I do this walk at least twice a week. So where I am, and the first time I ever stood on this bridge, the first time I ever stepped foot here on this overpass, I was 19 years old, no, maybe 18, 18 years old, and I was making my way over there, crossing the tracks to attend a high school friend's vigil. Because just over there, just right over there, a friend of mine in that house was killed. So obviously right now you know what kind of video you're getting yourself into. Yeah, this is what I do often. So to actually physically do this walk and engage myself in this activity, which obviously calls a lot of my attention, I can't do this every single day, but I will do it just a couple of times a day. I make time for it where I, get to focus on walking, health, longevity, and also mindfulness. It's an active meditation that I engage in. When I'm not coming here and reflecting on a horrible tragedy of, a young woman I knew, just a year older than me at the time, getting shot in the head and dying at the hands of an abusive domestic situation, When I'm not doing that, I have, for instance, my tattoo, Die Wise, and I get to immerse myself in the reality that this life is so fucking short. But to even say that, and I know you, if you're watching these videos, you're familiar with these concepts of checking your mortality, checking your privilege to be alive. But to even say as a living person, life is short and you're gonna die, it's such an abstract thing that it's much easier said than done. It's much easier to be like, I am gonna die, life is short, go after it. But what I really want to challenge myself to try to confront are the nitty-gritty, like, oh, this is uncomfortable, like the real existential angst behind the fact that I'm going to die and you're going to die. And part of why I got Die Wise so like blatantly on my wrist in clear English rather than Latin like Memento Mori was not only just because I love that book and it was such an influential book in my life, but also because I want to trigger people into realizing, like, yeah, death, Die Wise. And when I first got this tattoo, I got it just a couple of weeks before beginning my job with Real Social Dynamics, but I was still working as a cashier at a grocery store just over there. And I got this tattoo around the 4-year anniversary of my friend's murder, I guess we could call it. And I was working and it was a really existential shift. And a man, I live in Montreal, so in French, a customer, he says to me, "Pourquoi die wise? Why not live wise?" Okay, so why die wise? Why not live wise? So already my tattoo is working, like kids are noticing it, like it's really bothering people. Yes. And it hit me in that moment, like this was really like close to the anniversary of my friend being killed. It hit me in that moment, like the answer just like came out of me. I didn't have it preemptively thought through. And I said to him, to his question, pourquoi die wise, why not live wise? I said, parce que c'est la même chose. And that was it. And then it was like, have a good day, you know, you're my customer, get out. And that really hit me. Parce que c'est la même chose. That made a lot of sense. So why die wise? Why would I get the words die wise? Why wouldn't I get live wise? Yes! Why wouldn't I get that? Well, because it's the same thing. Parce que c'est la même chose. Because to me, what I'm trying to figure out is that I don't really see too much of a dramatic distinction between life and death. As the only promise you have in this life is that you will die. I know that there's advanced science right now trying to figure out how to become immortal, and that's cool, I guess. But I know that I'm going to die, and I frankly could die before I even get the privilege to post this video on YouTube and talk to you about it. And recently I was trying to figure out what is my big why, you know, my big like raison d'être, the thing that pushes me every day to want to be alive. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I frankly get a lot out of just like every single unfolding moment, and I find life very fun and engaging and challenging in all the right ways. But I'm also beginning to think that I think a challenge for me is to push the boundary of the conversation around death and realizing death, which ultimately is realizing one's own life, like you're alive, and to really, really feel that and submit into that. And it's not easy. In fact, it's mostly scary. In my experience, it's scary. And you will notice, of course, you see I'm in a city, I'm in Montreal, and I go around in public and I look at people on their phones, people just like, you see it in their eyes, like a glazed over, like they've already just given up, like they're already dead, they're already the walking dead. And it scares me. And then it's the same people who complain about petty things, like a customer service situation, and like they're just always on edge, they're always about to snap, about to break, they're always in reaction. And I see these people and I just want to be like, it's okay. And by the way, you're going to die. So wake up while you're still here. And of course, this is a very esoteric rant and I don't want it to go on too long, but the purpose of me talking about this is just feeding into what I believe is important in my life right now is to, first of all, recommend that you definitely go read Die Wise by Stephen Jenkinson. And second of all, every day we just take a moment to realize, like, holy fuck, life is so short and it's gonna end, and it doesn't have to be forgiving. And it wasn't forgiving to my friend who just over there was shot to death, shot in her head, and that's it. About 4 years ago, her life is done at 19 years old. Anything can happen, and I don't mean for this to be so morbid. In fact, the way I like to put a twist on it is that it's actually very, I guess, grounding, definitely not positive. But you just need to understand that this is what's going on. You're alive. You're alive. And we're gonna die. And that's okay. So now you know that always at least 2 times a week I come here and I walk across the train bridge and I pass by her house. Exactly where it all happened. Exactly where it all went down. And I feel that. I do that. I do that for myself. I do that for my community. I do that for her. I do that so I never forget, because I find it too easy to forget. And I do this because it grounds me and gives me something to focus on while I'm also doing the boring, systematic week that I have planned out for myself. Fitness, work, journal, brand. But ultimately, it's all fueled by checking my mortality, realizing life is short, and using that and using how I feel about that to propel me to want to engage with you, engage with the world, engage with my life, my ability to be alive. For I tap into this even, for instance, in the smallest moments, like at the gym doing a plank and feeling like this plank really sucks right now. I would love to just get out of it early. And then I feel the pain in my body and I realize, like, how lucky am I to feel this pain right now? So please let me know what you think. This is a very personal video, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm holding back tears, of course. I feel very vulnerable right now, and that's okay, and that's actually the point of this. It's just submitting and being open to ourselves and to the world around us. If you want to learn more about how I feel about these topics, and specifically my friend's situation, I will put a link in my bio to a write-up I did right around the 4-year anniversary of her death. That took me a long time to write and wrap my head around. And definitely leave a comment and just share with me, what did this video bring up for you? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. It is